purpose of what we're talking about with oil is not to get rid of it completely, but to make it boring. How might we do that? Brazilians, they've had some riots recently, and not everything is perfect in Brazil, but there's one thing after 4 or 5 tries that they finally got right, which was how to have competition in fuel. You pull into a fueling station, a gasoline station in Brazil, and there's a pump for gasoline, and there's another one for ethanol, alcohol they call it. And you choose, and if there's been a war in the Middle East recently and gasoline's really expensive, people buy ethanol. If there's been a bad harvest for sugarcane and the ethanol is expensive, to buy gasoline, they decide. No government bureaucracy decides, no tax system decides, nobody orders it, they just buy what they want. And it holds down the price of gasoline. It's not a perfect system, but it works better than anything else I've seen. China is moving rather decisively at the provincial level in 20 or so of their 27-some provinces with pilot programs and some competition in mixed fuels with 20, 30, 40% methanol with an M, the old wood alcohol as distinct from ethanol with an E, the old grain alcohol. With respect to methanol, the Chinese are making it out of coal. I hope they can switch to something else before long because coal's kind of dirty for everybody. But nonetheless, they are very enthusiastic, and they did this in spite of opposition by the party and the central big Chinese oil companies. What they're doing is moving toward a mixed fuel and doing a lot of it with methanol. Why does this work? Well, in the first place, in order to take a car that is just what comes off the production line, and before it goes to the showroom, as the very last stage of production, to make it possible for it to use up to 85% methanol, according to an MIT study of about 1.5 years ago, the price per car is about $90, half a seat belt. So if automobile manufacturers wanted to and were willing to make that very minor adjustment in some of the fuel lines and so forth to make it possible for the car to run on gasoline or methanol, if you run on methanol, you run on ethanol. If they wanted to do that, they could. And then what would happen? Well, once the pumps got installed, and yeah, you'd have to have new pumps and tanks, or at least one new pump and one new tank at a filling station. But as that change occurred, people could do what Brazilians do. Probably, I think, in the U.S., we'd do it more with methanol with an M rather than ethanol with an E, because ethanol is close to or right at gasoline's prices, but methanol, because natural gas is 5 times cheaper than oil today per unit of energy, and methanol can be made very easily and very readily from natural gas, I think we have an opportunity to require our automobile manufacturers simply to make it possible for people to drive on any of those 3 fuels. Order them? No. Say there has to be a certain percentage purchased of that? No. Just let people choose. Same way they